I am a tree. My roots run deep. And when you pollute this soil, it's my feet that bleed. If a storm comes, I don't run. I brace myself with support from these legs sewn down deep through many sunsets and sunrises. Many seasons it's taken to get to know the faces around, my neighbors, the lowlifes, the plants, the insects and creepy crawlers, the high flyers, the birds and traveling winds. Storms I have weathered, toughened my skin. In the sun I have bloomed and exploded into color. I stand here committed. To grow is my fervor. But I only grow with support from my neighbors. The traveling winds, they tempt me with stories from places not near. But what they don't understand, I fear, is that I am committed to this ground right here. I have debts to the rains that have watered my soul and refilled the deepest of my wells, drained dry from quenching others' cracked hearts that needs constant soothing, that there is richness in the depths of this soil. There is comfort in the grooves of my trunk. There is shelter in the branches of my bunks. I have cleared my tears to the tips of my fingers, drip dropping down, seeping into the ground. I have struggled against new buildings and structures, walls and fountains, bricks and benches, all implanted above my far-reaching roots. My bark has been carved, my ties have been cut, my ground has been stomped upon by tractors and boots. The wind tosses me, mocks me, throws me in a dance, and as my leaves prance off, I glance a gleam of freedom. Oh, how I would bounce if I could, shake the earth below with my bounds, swim in the lake I've only ever seen from the tip-tops of my breezy treetops. But with my toes wrapped in weeds and crisscrossing roots, I can't simply hop to the latest trendy spot, though the winds tell me of exciting things there. No. I stay. I stay. I feed and fed, I grow, because I know that everything that I've worked for is by my side. This ground, right here. Yes, I am bound. I am heavy, I see. And freedom, well, that's just a myth to me. For how could I be free out there without the rain to heal my pain? How could I be free out there without my joy, my friends? Is freedom simply a lack of commitment, or a space to struggle, a space to grow? For I am a tree. My roots run deep, bind me with bugs, structures, and flowers, tease me with birds, winds, and showers. My back will not crack, though sometimes I bleed. I will grow with my friends up high and low. Together we'll sow, together we'll grow. I've been writing poetry since high school, I guess, but started taking it more seriously in university. And that's when I first saw spoken word or slam style spoken word. And it really moved me in how engaging it was and how present it was. And what I love about spoken, and when I saw it, I was like, I could do that. I have stories that I want to tell too, and that I think would be a good thing and a useful thing to be sharing rather than just keeping in my notebooks. And what I love about spoken word is that it's present. And to me, words on a page are nothing until someone reads them or engages with them. And when they're spoken and people are listening and there's like a group of people, it becomes a community experience where everybody is experiencing these words at the same time and we're ingesting them together and thinking about them together. And I think it's important to bring back spoken word or oral storytelling because that's our tradition, right? Like that's what people have been doing for many generations, and in a while it's been lost in a certain way or been retranslated into different media, like watching the evening news or listening to songs and reading books. But what I like about spoken word is we're bringing it back, like folk stories, folk tales of our people right now, and we're putting them in these poems that you can kind of just bring out and tell these stories just like people have done for centuries. And why I think for the community, a lot of the times, I think in just Western society, we're going, and we're getting things done without reflecting on what we are accomplishing and remembering what our stories are. So I think writing down our presence in poems right now is important so that 20 years down the line, we don't have to think back and be like, what did I do back then? And then try to write memoirs. I want to write like memoirs of the moment, of the present right now, right when we're in them, so that we have that and kind of witness and affirm what we're doing as people right now. In the community, like what we do at least in Kitchener-Waterloo, there's this KW Poetry Slam came out of a community of poetry that was very social justice oriented. So we were having events that were poems about certain issues. And then we realized that there needed to be a venue for this, a space for people to share their stories. So then we started the slam to be this regular thing. And very much so it still informs what we do in our poetry community. And we found that it's quite unique in Canada. And we like that. I mean, there have been people who don't like what we're doing. And we try very hard to like have conversations with those people and make it a space where most people can feel comfortable. And it's always a struggle. It's constant. Like every day we have people who have new ideas or complaints, and we try to work around that and not exclude people from the community. Yeah. So I work with female immigrant students in high schools, and we talk about like what it's like to live in Canada as a newcomer and what kind of cultural differences there are and the struggles that they face being women, being racialized, being immigrants, being English as a second language or things like that. And it's a lot of discussion. Most of it is building confidence and empowering people through conversation. I've had students write poems in these groups, and they're always about their own struggle, right? And there's so much power and relief in putting those words down on paper and then sharing them with a group, and especially as a form of art, right? It's not just like a vent, but this is my story, I'm sharing it, this is a risk that I'm taking, and now people are accepting it and really taking it in. And in that give and take, I think there is an affirmation of those people's lives and struggles. It's significant that I'm a racialized woman and I grew up in an immigrant experience. Like I was ESL, I grew up in a family of Korean immigrants. I was born in Toronto, but I grew up not as like a white Canadian. And so I understand and can empathize with my students. And I think that's a big thing. And the identity card and the skin that I'm in is a big thing for people of shared experience. So then right there, I already have like an in. And maybe that's unfair. Maybe some people would think that's unfair, but I think that's real life. You know, you look at somebody and the skin that they're in affects the way that you are going to make assumptions about their life and the way that they've experienced structural oppression like racism or classism, etc. So there's that, just the identity card, and then the conversation. Like when I talk with my students, I don't talk like an academic or like a counselor. I just talk as like, I try to be as a peer as possible. And I do take that role model role seriously. I don't want to say, oh, I'm not a role model, I'm just another person who runs a group. It's like, no, I understand that if I stand in front of a group of girls and I'm saying, you know, you can be empowered and you have lots of abilities, let's figure out what those are and nourish them. I know that there's like a power dynamic there, right? And so I am careful with the words that I do choose and the way that I'm connecting with them through things that I share about myself personally. So when I do that, they feel like they can also share, and then it's a give and take, and not only like I'm expecting them to share everything, and I'm just going to be like, that's okay, yeah. Like I want it to be, we're all being vulnerable together, and in that we can build trust and then affirm that and then move on to something else forward, yeah.